Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 5th, 2018. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspaper, posted on public bulletin boards, and the township website.
At this time, please turn off and silence your cell phone. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilman Halloran.
Here.
Vice President Crate.
Here.
Councilman Mumolo.
Here.
Councilman Fosman.
Here.
Councilwoman Ponterero.
Here.
President DeYoung.
Here.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please accept and file the municipal reports, please.
And we should salute the flag.
Oh, salute the flag. Thank you. Everybody, please rise for a flag salute and a moment of silence.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Madam Clerk, accept and file the municipal reports, please.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of July 10th meeting?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumolo, second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Abstain?
Councilman Mumolo.
Here. Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ponterero.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call up Joseph Castellano, Ocean County Vocational Technical School Silver Medalist, and the mayor down to the podium, please.
Okay, so last August, the mayor and council, myself and the council, I should say, we recognized Joe Joseph because he won a gold medal at the New Jersey Skills USA competition, and last year it was in the jobs demonstration category, and he made a pizza from scratch. This year, again, he competed on behalf of Brick Memorial High School as well as Ocean County Technical School, Brick, right across the street, that serves lunch, and you shouldn't miss it. They also have a bakery, so anybody out there who doesn't know, during the school year, they should go make a reservation for lunch and hit the bakery over there because they have great goods. And he's represented both schools, and he was a gold medalist in New Jersey, which then brought him out to the national championships again, which this year took place in Louisville, Kentucky. And he came in second place in the nation and won a silver medal. This time it was in the job demo open skills category. So I want to say congratulations, and if you could tell us about what your project was this year, and I do have a certificate of commendation.
So,
they can hear you at home.
so my demonstration consisted of a 5 to 7 minute demonstration of, I did a bread and pizza demonstration, so I rolled a French baguette, I did a pizza demonstration, talked about the history, how it originated with the Persian soldiers, how they made flatbreads on their shields, and I used various techniques that I learned from Chef Dennis, Chef Bruce over in the OCVTS, and brought home a silver medal out at Nationals in Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you.
Runs in the family because he has his brother was here as well.
Go ahead.
So I just figure out, sure everybody knows, I know it's not on the agenda, but we had some severe flooding all around town, really in the northern section of town, but in a couple different areas. Paramount Way, their house was affected. New York Avenue, houses were affected. Sutton Village, Primrose Lane, and Greenbrier as well. So there's, a lot of people who are out of their houses in Greenbrier. There's also a lot of people with water in their basements in Primrose. A woman who's out of her house in Paramount, where it's very high. If anybody knows where Paramount is, you'd be surprised that could flood. But there's like a mudslide situation there where there's a cliff behind her house that the patio and stuff went down. So that was an interesting. We went out there yesterday afternoon. It's unexpected. Everybody knew thunderstorms were coming, obviously, but you didn't know how bad they were going to be and how much water it was going to be. So it ended up that we had 2 months worth of rain came down in 2.5 hours. And that's causes some severe flooding, because obviously there's no system in the world that's designed to take on that much water all at the same time. So 2 months worth of rain in 2.5 hours. There were great things that happened from the community, meaning our police department, our fire, our EMS, our CERT team. We had our surrounding towns had mutual aid. Point Borough Fire was there. Point Borough EMS was there as well. We had 4 boats that were actually rescuing people out of their houses in Greenbrier. There were certain parts of Greenbrier that were 8 feet of water in the roadway. So you could see the very top of the street signs. You couldn't read what streets they were because the water line was right there. And there was people in Greenbrier that had up to their kitchen counters. It was the worst as far as water. And that was probably right there where the 8-foot kind of low part of Markham was. And then there's people who had maybe a couple inches in their house, and some people who weren't affected at all, which is actually most of the town. But if you go right up that Parkway strip, Greenbrier, Sutton, Primrose, makes a left and goes out Lakewood Allentown Road. That's kind of, I guess, the path the storms took, or that's definitely the path that the floods took. In Greenbrier, there was 114 houses that were affected. So the boats went out and they picked up people at the front door. People were coming out with their dogs or cats and medicines and whatever else they could carry, if they could carry a bag. It's a 55 and older community, so it's actually most of the people who I saw getting on the boats or getting off. I saw them getting off the boats. Really, was probably more 70 into 75 and up range. So it was kind of a scary situation. People getting off the boats. That's the only way they could be rescued. There wasn't trucks that could make it down those roads. So it was actual boats, and people would get dropped off. Then they would get driven over to the clubhouse at Greenbrier, where they were greeted with pizza and cool. You would think, warmth, but no, it's cool. They had the air conditioners on because it was hot. And Red Cross was there, and the trustees at Greenbrier were there, and administrator Nanette at Greenbrier was there, and doing the best they could. We had an EMS officer going around to each person asking, what your address was, what your name was, and is there any medicine that we need to go get? Because a lot of people, you're panicked. You're not thinking that you need to take medicine with you. So we had our EMS then go to those houses and get those medicines in case people needed to take them right away. Anybody who's out there who was affected, if you lost your prescription medication or any durable medical goods, walkers or arm braces, whatever the case may be, you go back to your pharmacy and they'll cover those. You have to let them know it was flooded, but that was already announced that if they were paid for by Medicare, they would be refilled if they were destroyed. So there was a lot of action going on for sure yesterday. The Wawa donated food. There was just a lot of volunteers helping out, and a lot of personnel. You saw why we have those big military trucks. They were there. They were the ones that can make it down the street. They made some saves in town. Everybody always wonders, why do you have those surplus vehicles? They just sit there. Well, you have them for a day like this. You hope the day never comes, but when it did come, we had them. And that's one thing that actually almost every newscaster who interviewed me, they always said, wow, you guys had so much equipment. It was great that you were able to have that stuff. Why do you have that Zodiac boat, or why do you have that Deuce and a Half and things like that? So we're lucky because people like Joe Polowitz and Joe Gilson looked ahead, and they know we have these type of events because of the weather, and they acquired them from the Army. There were surplus stuff from the Army that we were able to get for nothing. We have to keep them running, but we were able to obtain them. So they did a great job, as did everybody. So amazingly enough, this morning, so I leave there, last night, and amazingly enough, this morning I go over for, in the morning, and You drive down Markham, and it's completely dry. Everything is green. Everything is pristine. Unbelievable. Like after Sandy, if everybody remembers, there's sand, there's muck, there's mud, there's who knows what. It's all sorts of debris in the roadway and everything else. This, because it was, it was fresh water, it was rain, you looked, the grass was perfectly green, there was no sand in the road. The road may have even been cleaner than it was before the storm, to be honest with you. And you saw that until you looked and you saw the guys, or the woman's garage door open and the front door open, all the windows are open because they're trying to get air in there, and you know that something's still going on, obviously. So there were 114 houses that were emptied. So there were about between 55 and 60 people that were taken off of boats. The other people were either not home at all, or maybe they were probably working during the day and then came home at night to a nice surprise. So it ended up there was 114 total that JCP&L had to cut the power on. Today we had out there our building inspector, our electrical inspector, and a JCP&L representative came eventually, and they went door to door. So they went through 114 houses and inspected them. Out of those 114, there were 38 people who weren't home, so they weren't able to inspect them. They weren't able to get inside. There were 21 that were flooded enough that the electrical panel was touched by water, and therefore JCP&L had to pull the meter and take the meter away. You can't restart the house until it's been checked by an electrician and either rewired if it needs it, or the panel replaced, or whatever the case may be that an electrician would know. And there's 55 people who had their power back on, and those 55 people are now home. So out of the 114, you have 55 people back in their houses. And when I say people, I mean houses. 114 houses, there's 55 houses that have their residents back in them, which leaves 59 left, which the 38 that weren't home, and then 21 that are going to be, they're not going to have power for a little bit. The shelter is open tonight, if anybody still needs that or knows somebody who needs that. And that is at Greenbrier Community Center. Last night there was 5 people that had to stay there. And then the Red Cross will provide accommodations if need be beyond tonight. But today also there's a residents meeting at noon where a lot of information was given out as to the process of what I just described. With go back to your houses now, there's going to be an inspector. He's going to tell you whether or not you're able to get back in there. And helping out today, there was a list of things that our OEM Joe Palowitz came up with, and he asked Lowe's, and Lowe's stepped up and pretty much provided everything on that list of things that people would need, a pallet of bags and shovels and gloves and all this stuff. And in addition to that, in addition to the stuff that Lowe's provided, this is no cost. They provided a bunch of people from Lowe's wearing Lowe's vests and all showed up to help people, drag their couches and their whatever they can get out of there, whatever needs to go out of there, dishwashers, rugs, whatever the case may be. So tomorrow as well, we had Brick Township High School as a bunch of the athletes, 30, 40 or so football players and some other sports. They're showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning to do the same thing, to help the residents out. They're going to cut sheetrock if need be, carry couches, chairs, whatever gets ruined. Whatever's ruined and people are able to part with, they're there to help, and that's what they're going to be going door to door and helping out. And we have our DPW. They were there all day today, picking up what was there today, and they'll be back again 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, clear everything off, and then they'll be back again at the end of their shift to pick up whatever the athletes from Brick Township High School will be putting out there. So it's been a community effort of like luckily a small Sandy. Luckily for those who weren't affected, unluckily for the people who were. But so I want everybody out there to be wary of contractors. So after Sandy, there was a number of contractors that had taken advantage of people, and that was people of all ages. As we know, from example, people, when they're out of their house because of a flood such as Sandy, they want to get back as soon as possible. So people don't think clearly. You're not going to think clearly. I want to get back into my house. This is where I live. Where am I going to be? I'm sleeping on somebody's couch, and you're 75, 80 years old. Am I sleeping at my sister, my daughters? What am I doing? So they're going to want to get back in the house, of course, just like everybody did after Sandy. Now, the other thing is contractors always, fraudulent contractors, I'm talking about, always prey on who? The elderly the most. Now, there was elderly involved in Sandy. There was more people who weren't elderly, but this is in Greenbrier. This is all the elderly. So please take care of your neighbors and friends who live in Greenbrier. Don't let them sign any contracts. Even more importantly, don't let them pay any money to contractors until somebody's looking at them, somebody, a friend, a family member, whoever, a lawyer, if you want to go that far, you can do that, but you want to make sure you don't get taken advantage of by contractors. So this is the first, so we all know we have areas in town that have flooding problems. We have that Jacques Cousteau study that shows the flood tables with the 50-year storm and what the town's going to look like in 50 years and 100 years and all that. You know, just every time there's a high tide, we know the water comes up in certain areas of town. It doesn't come down. It's coming up at high tides. And with the full moon, you've got streets that are, well, you know, curb to curb with water. That's not Greenbrier or Primrose or Sutton or New York Avenue. That's not Paramount for sure. That's way up in the air. So this is a different type of storm, obviously. It's never flooded before, and it did flood this time. What caused that, we don't know. I know somebody had mentioned they thought that the MUA pump station wasn't online. The MUA pump station it seems like people don't realize what a pump station is. The MUA pump station pumps raw sewage. It's not something that pumps clean or fresh water or storm water. It pumps sewage. So what happened is that is located on Burrsville Road. If anybody saw the pictures of Greenbrier, Burrsville Road was curb to curb underwater. In fact, a lot of people thought that that was a river or some type of creek. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't realize there was a creek right there next to Greenbrier, but it ended up that's Burrsville Road. And then the road that you actually saw was the Parkway. That wasn't. Everybody thought that was Burrsville Road. Then there was this weird creek, and then there was Greenbrier. Oh, no wonder why it flooded. There's a creek right there. That creek was Burrsville Road, and that roadway was the Parkway, because the Parkway is way up in the air, as everybody knows as you drive past it. So the MUA substation is on Burrsville Road, and that got flooded as well, just like Greenbrier got flooded, like a home got flooded. The structure that's on Burrsville Road got flooded. So it's they had to go down there with temporary pumps and all that. But the pump station didn't have anything to do with the flood, because the pump station's pumping your toilet stuff. It's not pumping storm water or the rainwater. We're going to have people look into what else could have caused it. You know, was it the construction? You hear a lot of people who live in Greenbrier who said, you know, I've lived here for 25 years, never saw anything like this. Then the Parkway construction happened, and the first big rainstorm we have, and we're flooded out. So we have drone aerial shots. The county is looking at it as well. They have a county engineer who's looking at it. They're having their consultant engineer that designed the county project of the exits and entrance ramps looking at it. Our engineer is looking at it as well. And we'll see if that had anything to do with it, and try to figure out, you know, make sure this doesn't happen again if it was that, or if it was just the 2 months worth of rain coming down in 2.5 hours. And that's what we're taking a look at. That's not going to help anybody get back in their homes quicker or anything, but you want to know that if it was something that can be controlled, that is going to be controlled, and so you don't have to worry in the future. Insurance issues, make sure everybody, whoever it is, contact your insurance company. I know a lot of people didn't have flood insurance there because you weren't in a flood zone, and that's totally understandable. Anybody out there who's not in a flood zone, thinks you're safe, you might want to rethink it. And I don't sell insurance, so I'm not getting any type of commission or anything on that. It's just I see what these people are going through, and when people are coming up to you and they're crying and saying, I have all my money into this house, what am I going to do? I don't know. Don't know the answer. So we declared it a state of emergency. We were told by some people that their insurance company said that you needed to do that. We didn't do it for that reason. We went out there and you looked at it, and there was 8 feet of water in the roadway. Of course, it's a state of emergency. So we had the police chief declared it, you know, immediately at 5-10 minutes after we were there. I don't even know if it was 10 minutes. Yeah, probably 3 minutes after we were there. It's obvious. We then were able to convince the county to call it a state of emergency. And then from there, the governor signed the state of emergency. So we're in that path of, if your insurance company said it had to be a state of emergency, it is. It's all the way up the chain as far as the state. Now it's up to the state. So the state has to lobby the federal government for help. And help is in the terms of FEMA involvement. And hopefully that comes. So there's 2 different parts of FEMA involvement. One is public entities. And there's some type of mathematical equation out there. I don't know what it is. Nobody really seems to know what it is. But it's based upon the amount of damage you have to public lands. So we had a roadway, bridge, kind of lockbox wipeout, and another roadway, county road, wiped out up on Lanes Mill. And then Monmouth County had Allenwood Lakewood Road, or Lakewood Allenwood Road out there to the left, down past the reservoir. So they have to add all that, and it hopefully comes up to whatever dollar amount. If it does, from the public point of view, then it goes into the private point of view, whether or not private grants are going to be available, and that comes down to some other type of equation. So anybody who's out there who's doing anything to your house, Primrose, Paramount, anywhere, Greenbrier, take pictures, document everything, because that's the only way you're going to be able to prove to either to your insurance company or to FEMA what you had, what you don't have, how much damage you had, and all that means money in order to get the entire town, if we get to that stage, hopefully, up to the threshold of where FEMA comes in and provides some type of funding for people who didn't have flood insurance. I think I pretty much hit on everything, right? Volunteer efforts, you can call 732-262-1240. Really, it's just physical volunteers, all we need. They're not looking for clothes or clothes, food, all that. Contact the Red Cross, and they are organizing all that. We were organizing, just trying to get people out there. We're actually just taking the names and getting them over to Greenbrier to take to vet as far as people, physically strong people, to empty refrigerators, empty furniture, all that stuff that the athletes are doing tomorrow. But there could be, beyond the high school athletes, anybody else who wants to help can do that. And that's tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. And that's pretty much it. So, hopefully we'll all get through this together, and thanks to everybody. I know I mentioned a couple Lowe's, Wawa's and stuff. I'm sure I didn't thank everybody, and I don't mean that this wasn't some type of thank you speech. We'll do that sometime in the future when we know what everybody did. And I don't know what all those things are at this point. I just know what I saw personally, and I didn't see everything because I wasn't everywhere. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for that update. We are going to move on now to our consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Very good, thank you. Resolutions. 4-1, authorize insertion of Chapter 159, Office of Emergency Management Grant 2018. This resolution authorizes the insertion of a grant in the amount of $6,141.60 from the State of New Jersey for the fiscal year 18 Office of Emergency Management Grant. This grant is used to offset the salary of our emergency management coordinator, and he certainly earned it this last couple days. Resolution 4-2, authorize submission of application 2019 Local Arts Program Grant. Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the township to apply for a total of $5,000 in grant funding from the Ocean County Cultural and Heritage Commission to fund the townships, through their local arts grant program, to fund the township's cultural arts series. These programs are the concerts that are taking place currently every Wednesday night in August at Traders Cove, and also some select events at the Civic Plaza. And because of this grant funding, we were able to host these events at no charge to our residents who would like to attend. The funding actually originates at the federal level through the National Endowment for the Arts. Then those block grants get sent to the state, so that would be the New Jersey State Council on the Arts, and then again those grants get sent to the individual counties for disbursement to local arts groups throughout their counties. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 4-3, authorize receipt of bids Peterbilt Parts and Repair. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for various repairs to township Peterbilt trucks that cannot be done in-house. This is mostly due to the fact that the repairs require specialized equipment and training and/or the purchase of Peterbilt parts. The current vendor is Hunter Jersey Peterbilt Clarksburg. The contract will expire on October 18th, 2018. The total approximate expenditure to date is $173,650 for the past 2-year contract. 4-4, authorize receipt of bids, construction supplies. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for construction supplies used throughout the township for in-house projects, repair, and maintenance. The current vendor is Madison Township Lumber, Matawan. The contract will expire on September 27, 2018. The total approximate expenditure to date is $22,000 for the past 2-year bid contract. Resolution 4-5, authorize receipt of bids, purchase and delivery of one 33 cubic yard automated collection vehicle. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for the purchase and delivery of one 33 cubic yard automated sanitation collection vehicle as approved in the 2018 capital budget. Resolution 4-6, authorize receipt of bids, purchase and delivery of one rear loading collection vehicle. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for the purchase and delivery of one rear loading sanitation collection vehicle as approved in the 2018 capital budget. Resolution 4-7, authorize receipt of bids, purchase and delivery of one single axle dump truck. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for the purchase and delivery of one single axle dump truck as approved for the 2018 capital budget. Resolution 4-8, authorize receipt of bids, engineering services pool. Mayor.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for the township's engineering services pool. It enables the township to expand the current engineering services pool to ensure a diverse mix of professionals in various areas of expertise. And we're going to take a look, as we know, there's some neighborhoods that may be going forward soon with regards to some dredging projects. And if they do, we wanted to have an engineer. We're going to do the permitting and all that for them, and we want to have somebody who with a little bit more expertise, and we're looking for that. But it's open to all engineering services. It's just an opening to the pool. Thanks.
Thank you. Resolution 4-9, authorize award of bid, Public Works Yard Vehicle Storage and Fuel Station Canopy. This resolution authorizes award of bid for the Public Works Yard Vehicle Storage and Fuel Station Canopy improvements to Gavin General Contracting Lakewood for a total amount of $661,527.36. The major work items include furnishing, delivering, and erecting 3 steel canopy structures along with forming and pouring reinforced concrete spread footings and piers with associated electrical and site work. Bid notices were mailed to 34 potential bidders. 4 contractors responded and submitted bids with prices ranging from $661,527.36 to $1,016,212. The other 2 lowest bidders were Cattell Inc. Bradley Beach with a total of $985,764 and Cypreco Industries Neptune with a total bid of $1,016,212. Resolution 410, authorize award of bid computer and printer supplies. This resolution authorizes award of bid for computer and printer supplies to the following vendors in accordance with a schedule of prices: Beyond Technology Centennial CO, KT's Office Services Toms River, Office Needs Clark, Ribbons Express Cherry Hill, Star Data Hewlett, New York, The Tree House Norwood, MA. Bid notices were mailed to 45 prospective bidders. 8 bidders picked up bid packages and 7 bids were received. The current 1-year contract will expire on August 23, 2018. Funding for this contract is included in all data processing, police, and building and grounds operating budgets. Resolution 411, authorize award of bid roadway improvements to Toonsbrook Road. Mayor.
Thank you. This resolution is for the roadway improvements to Toonsbrook Drive. It's being awarded to Earl Asphalt of Farmingdale, New Jersey. The total base bid amount is $243,013.13. The bid notices were emailed out to 63 potential bidders. 6 contractors responded, and 4 bids were received, with prices ranging from $243,000 to $254,000. $217.42. The project includes milling, base repair, asphalt paving, replacing inlet grates and curb pieces, removal and replacement of concrete curb, restoration, and other miscellaneous work. And the other bidders besides Earl were C.J. Hess, which is about $3,000 behind, and then Miko was another $4,000 more than that. Thanks.
Thank Thank you. Resolution 412, authorize award of bid roadway improvements to Lions Head Boulevard South. Mayor.
Yes, another long awaited. So Toonsbrook people were waiting for, and then Sandy happened, and then we had to wait for people to elevate their houses. That was the last one I just talked about, so we're finally getting to that one as people have completed their elevations over there on Toonsbrook. Lions Head was another one that's been on the list for a while, including everybody. We started the work, surveying work and things like that probably last September. We don't pave over the winter, but it was supposed to start in the spring, but then we realized that we could use CDBG money, grant money to pay for the project, but we had to wait for CDBG to give their blessing or their approval for us to be able to do that. So we finally got that, and now we can go out to bid. So it's for Lions Head Boulevard South, and it's being awarded again to Earl Asphalt of Farmingdale, New Jersey, for a total bid amount of $559,313.13. The project generally consists of resurfacing of Lions Head Boulevard South. Bid notices went out to 63 potential bidders, 7 responded, and 5 bids were made. They were made by Earl Asphalt, $559, CJ Hess, $627, Miko, $627, Johnson Barron Corp., $708, and BlackRock, $771. And the lowest responsible bidder was Earl Asphalt, who was $559,313.13. Thanks.
Thank you. Resolution 413, authorize award of alternative process contract, public safety Aegis software. This resolution authorizes award of alternative process contract for public safety Aegis software to Tyler Technologies, Troy, Michigan. Tyler Technologies will provide enterprise upgrade and additional modules as part of the public safety software suite to the Township's Police Department. Tyler is the sole source for the development, implementation, maintenance, and support of the New World software used by our dispatchers. The software provided to the police department is proprietary and not available for purchase through other companies. This is a 1-year contract in the amount of $133,740. Resolution 414, authorize rejection of bids and rebid vehicle repairs. This resolution authorizes the rejection of bids and rebid for vehicle repairs. Bid notices were mailed to 28 prospective bidders, of which 7 picked up bid packages. 1 bid was received. However, the bidder failed to fully complete the proposal sheet, which is a fatal defect that renders the bid proposal unresponsive and cannot be cured. Therefore, our purchasing agent is requesting approval to rebid. Resolution 415, authorize consent to use agreement, Police Department Special Ops Building. This resolution authorizes the Township to use an easement held by the Ocean County Utilities Authority for proposed improvements, specifically the installation of a building to house ambulances and other police equipment. The proposed canopy building will be located in the rear of the parking lot here at Town Hall. The Utility Authority has approved the Township's request to complete improvements within their easement. 416, authorize placement of tax liens for property cleanups. This resolution authorizes the placement of tax liens at the following properties: 540 Drum Point Road in the amount of $66.17, an empty lot on Pilot Drive in the amount of $176.60, 355 Hudson Drive in the amount of $69.39, 204 Winchester Drive in the amount of $57.84, 115 Solar Drive in the amount of $757, and 122 Northeast Drive in the amount of $129.86. 417, authorize special events permit poker run. This resolution authorizes a special events permit for a poker run for Operation Restored Warrior event on August 18th at the River Rock on Route 70 between the hours of 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. 418, authorize special events permit pro wrestling. This resolution authorizes a special events permit for Jersey Premier Championships Pro Wrestling event on November 3rd at the Brick PAL building on Drum Point Road between noon and 10. 417, bond releases and reductions. Madam Clerk.
Yes, thank you. 419A is a performance bond release for Natoso Construction in the amount of $5,052.93. 419B is a performance bond release for Scott Sherman on Drum Point Road and Circle Drive in the amount of $3,106.25. 419C is a performance bond release for Solid Gold Realty on Brick Boulevard in the amount of $250. 419D is a performance bond release for Kentwood Construction off Route 70 in the amount of $9,636.65. 419E is a performance bond release for D&J Realty Corp. off Route 70 and Brick Boulevard in the amount of $108,159.62. 419F is a restoration bond release for D&J Realty Corp. off Route 70 and Brick Boulevard in the amount of $20,000. 419G is a restoration bond release Orthodox Christian Church on Van Zyl Road in the amount of $12,312.52. 419H is an inspection fund release for John Helmstetter on Maniloking Road in the amount of $480.70. 419I is an inspection fund release for Lube It Up LLC on Cedar Bridge Road in the amount of $2,273.57. 419J is an inspection fund release for Feinberg and McBurney Realty, Hooper Avenue and Drum Point in the amount of $3,357.08. 419K is an inspection fund release for 2086 Route 88 LLC on Route 88 in the amount of $60.43. That's all.
Very good. Thank you. 420, tax collector, Mrs. Bergen.
Thank you. 420A, 100% DAV widow, a veteran, refund and cancel taxes for Block 377.10, Lot 6, in the amount of $9,844.77. 20B, state tax appeal granted for Block 378.45, Lot 1.01, 1979 Hooper Avenue, in the amount of $19,806.74, which is a 2-year appeal. 420C, state tax appeal granted for Block 1068, Lot 7, 1242 Route 70, in the amount of $103,434.12, which is a 3-year appeal.
Thank you. This will end our consent agenda. Open to council.
Yes, I'd just like to say, I'm glad to see our capital budget. We put in the trucks for Public Works and also the buildings. They were being worked on, the Public Works yard storage buildings. They're going to have a canopy so we can put our trucks underneath to save the trucks, to make them last longer. They're not out in the storm and the weather. And this was started in 2016. We finally got the rest of the money I get to finish the project. And hopefully this project will be done by the fall. Thank you.
Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontarero, second by Councilman Fosman. Open the public for questions. Any questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Abstain on 417, yes to the rest.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to 421, Bill Resolutions Computer 2018.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $1,474,670.98.
Thank you. Open to council. Motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumalo, second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Open to public. Questions, comments? Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Abstain on the Asbury Park Press and New Jersey Press Media, and yes to the rest.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Mumalo.
Abstain Meridian Occupational Health, and yes to the rest.
Councilman Fosman.
No to 18-03314, and yes to the rest.
What page?
That's 55.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Abstain, CME Associates, yes to the rest.
Thank you.
422, Bill Resolution Manual 2018.
Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $3,591,908.08.
Thank you. Open to council. Seeing none. Motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontivero, second by Council Vice President Crate. Open to public. Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
Councilman Momolo.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontivero.
Yes.
President Dion.
Abstain, CME Associates, yes to the rest.
Thank you.
Moving on to public comments.
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
Very good. Who will be first?
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. My letter I'm going to read, you all got it, I guess. Mayor Ducey, Councilwoman President Heather DeYoung, and all the other council members. I'm happy to see that the mayor's representative did more than once so far petition the New Jersey Turnpike Authority commissioners who are in charge of the Garden State Parkway to stop this abuse of the commissioners upon all of the Brick residents. But in reality, the commissioners listen to no one and are controlled by the big business interest, lobbyists and union bigwigs, so our representatives actually need to do more. Somehow the mayor and the representatives, as well as the council members, need to take the lead and step up as the local newspapers have done recently, in printing long letters to the editor about the New Jersey Turnpike Commissioner's assault on the residents of Brick and all of Ocean County Shore Corridor. Day after day, week after week, month after month, and yes, now, year after year, the New Jersey commissioners have harmed the health and well-being of the residents of Brick and all of Ocean County, and nothing of substance is ever done. The commissioners of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority care only for their powerful backers who get them their appointments on various committees and commissions. The people's representatives must stand up for the residents who elected them to the high-profile positions of mayor and councilman and councilwoman. All too often, the council and mayor of towns receive advice from union officials, paid workers of construction companies, or political honchos who happen to live in the area where the citizens are being abused by those same groups, and they're more concerned with the almighty dollar than the health of the children, mothers-to-be, senior citizens, and residents who want what is best for the community. For years now, various citizens have brought statistics printed in articles about autism, COPD, asthma, and other diseases to the council meetings, but little is ever done to stop the abuse of those living near the Garden State Parkway. Those living in those areas but working for the construction companies and unions funnel money into the township in order to have bureaucrats' voices heard at the expense of us everyday citizens. Over the years, the New Jersey Turnpike Authority commissioners have voted to expand the parkway, its exits and lanes for what they said was the safety of the roadway, but in fact merely a source of revenue and payback to the union construction companies and other bureaucrats who hide behind closed doors in order to garner excess profits at the expense of all citizens. The council, mayor, and all Brick workers who are paid to represent the citizens should feel obligated to stand up, speak out, and take legal action against the actions of the bureaucracy. The President of the United States has shown how difficult it is to speak up against the swamp in Washington, but the results have shown to be powerful for almost every citizen. Powerful bureaucrats try to make things impossible to change, and their cohorts make multiple attempts to harm the people's representatives in order to keep their control. But sometimes, just sometimes, a politician will do what is best for the citizens and not the lobbyists and bureaucrats. Our elected officials need to do the same here locally. It is the people's country, the resident shore community, the citizens' government. It's up to their representatives to curtail the abuse now. Too many people have given up fighting for what is right. They tried to stop the commissioners from killing our people, but gave up and moved on. They go by the old adage, you can't fight City Hall, But it's not the elected officials, rather it's the institutionalized bureaucrats that control all areas of government. The people's representatives should have not given up. A 14-foot pollution, noise, and safety wall along with increasing the amount of trees and brush is needed alongside the heavily expanded Garden State Parkway, and that is the minimum that is required to limit the abuse of the citizens of this shore community. It is not too late, never too late to do the right thing and correct the damage caused by the NJTA along the side of the parkway in Evergreen Woods, Brick High, Primrose Gardens, Greenbrier 1 and 2, and many other areas of Brick and Ocean County. Our citizens get COPD, asthma, and die prematurely from heart and lung ailments with every passing day. It's time to end the reign of terror of these commissioners. I didn't think I said my name, John Sluka. No, maybe I did. I also got one thing. I'm going to take about 20 seconds back from the last prior year. Just so people know, we know there were bad floods just recently and all over. Additionally, Evergreen Woods also, alongside the parkway, was flooded out. People from the back ends could not get out of their house. Well, they can get out of their houses, but they couldn't drive down the road. So that flood did impact Evergreen Woods on that side of the parkway as well. And additionally, there's about a 25-foot sinkhole in the back of Evergreen Woods, which basically is the distance between Howell Township and the Garden State Parkway fence. It's about 3.5, 4 foot deep and about 10 foot wide. It was a little smaller yesterday. It's bigger today. Thanks for your time, and have a good day, and sorry for the 20 seconds extra. Thank you.
Good evening, Michelle Spector, Evergreen Woods. It's never too late. I totally agree with that. That was a great letter by Mr. Sluka. And Evergreen Woods, just to give you an idea how it was bad by us too, we have tons of pictures. A garbage truck halfway up the wheels, that's how deep it was throughout the development. It's never been that bad. And if you're going to have FEMA come here and figure out why, you have to take into consideration that 100 feet in the center median and all the foliage, all those trees with the deep roots that would have soaked all this water up was taken out. It's never flooded this bad before, ever, ever, ever. So when FEMA comes, you have to have them consider everything that's been stripped from the parkway. So all that runoff that they were so worried about, runoff causing nitrates in the water supply and all this other happy horse shit, excuse my French. But it runs off into the communities because the roadway is 5.5 feet higher. And they made it so that the water runs off to the side of the road. It ran right off into our community and apparently all other communities. And people couldn't even get out. That's how bad it was. I mean, imagine a garbage truck halfway up the truck wheel. That's how deep it was. I mean, we're waiting for the ducks. That's how bad it was. So yell at whoever you have to yell at because this can't go on for the people of Brick. You have to do something. You have to stand up to these bullies. You have to do something. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
Sam Foster, Chico Drive in Brick. So first I want to tell everybody that there's a very beautiful rainbow outside. It's a very faint double rainbow. So hopefully we can get out of here before so everybody can enjoy it. I have a question here about, this kind of ties in with the Board of Ed school system. An article about how there's I guess it's going to be coming out of the Board of Ed's budget as far as the armed guards in the schools. It's not going to be out of the township budget that you control, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, but the police department itself, that's budget is still controlled by the council, the mayor. So I have a question about this. Personally, I don't really care I'm not too concerned about the armed guards since the article said it was going to be former police, so that's good to hear. But I do have a question about if the public is going to be having any input either here or at the Board of Ed. Will the council be doing anything as far as listing what police are going to be hired, their identities and qualifications, specifically if any of them have any kind of background that would interfere with their ability to do their job properly. And I'm bringing this out is because there's a school shooting in Florida, and there's a Broward County Sheriff's officer who was videotaped outside the building, and he refused to go in even though he was armed during the shooting. And that sheriff's deputy was later fired, and President Trump himself said, referred to him as a coward. I'm not going to mention that officer's name, but President Trump's quote was, when it came time to get in there and do something, he didn't have the courage or something happened. He certainly did a poor job. That's the case where somebody was outside, they were trained, they didn't react properly under pressure, or they were a coward. So I just want to make sure that this administration, since you are responsible for the police department, and I know that the mayor has direct control over the chief of police, that we're going to have standards in which the people that we do hire are going to be competent and qualified. And it worries me that there's what I'm concerned about specifically is some of them are going to be former Brick police officers, and I did bring to the attention of the council already about my legal issues with one of them back in 2014, and I just want to make sure that in advance we can have an opportunity to find out who they are, so if there is something in the background, we can raise our objections to it. So I wanted to know if the council and mayor have any comments about that, or if you have been in contact with the Board of Ed as far as how the procedure will be proceeding as far as that issue goes.
Okay.
would.
Do you want me
Go
to?
ahead.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. As far as the officers that they're considering hiring, that's completely up to them, and they're retired officers. I don't think we have any say in that.
Okay.
With regard to the training of the police, I can say that, am I okay? No, am I okay? I'm just gonna say
We
that
hire-
they're well
Yeah.
trained.
We hire them.
Oh, no,
They-
not for the, not,
Yes.
oh, do we?
Yeah, for the
Yes.
school.
That's not how they've stated it at the board meeting,
Yeah,
isn't it?
they will reimburse the township, but we hire them
Oh,
because
no,
the
we
chief of
hire
police is
them, yeah.
ultimately responsible for the public safety of the town, so they.
No, yes, no, but I mean, as far as when they're talking about retired people for the buildings, they're talking about hiring 6,
They said 4 in the article.
well, they are aiming for 6, but I guess 4 are being hired, but I was under the impression they were retired.
They are,
weren't
according to the
from
article.
town. That wasn't, not our
Yeah.
officers,
Okay, well, there's two different things out there.
yeah.
All right, so one is they're going to be hiring armed security guards.
Yes.
That is going to be hired by the school, paid for by the school.
That's what I'm talking about.
Then there's the
Sorry.
discussion about Class 3 officers, which
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
that's what you're talking about.
Well, that was mentioned in the article, that's why I'm mentioning it.
But that
Because the
would
way it was
be-
worded, Chief Richo is quoted as saying that they're going to be hiring armed guards, and they're going to be classified as Class 3 officers, which would mean police.
So that would be controlled by the
That's
police
us.
chief, and the police chief
Right.
would be doing those hirings.
Oh, see, that's what, yeah, but that's what I'm talking about, is it just going to be police? So it's going to be former police officers retired, brought back to work, and they're going to be hired as Class 3 officers. So that would mean, but basically my point is this, I'm just concerned about us bringing back to the force any cops that were, specifically former Detective Frank Field, who, as I know you all know, Judge Peterson ruled to committed crimes against me, and I don't think someone like that should be hired back, and I wanted to have input about that during a Board of Ed hearing. I haven't been able to attend one recently, but that's my concern.
Well, we can't control what people say at the microphone. No one up here is going to discuss past or present personnel matters of the township.
As far as, well, if...
As far
if-
as any individual you're naming, and I can tell you this, the qualifications to the Class 3 are regulated by state law, and they will certainly be qualified and competent if they're hired here in Brick Township.
That's just what I wanted, I just wanted reassurances that there wasn't going to be any rehiring of corrupt cops. That's basically it. That's the concern that I had. Since they're going to be in schools, we don't want to repeat like in Florida when we had, they had a sheriff's officer armed outside, anyone could go in the building. And based on my experience with the police, I just don't want those, that type of, I'm not referring to the Broward County Sheriff's Officer as corrupt, but, as I mentioned, about my problems with Detective Field, was found guilty in court of a crime, so I just wanted to make sure that if he is one of the people being
Sir,
considered...
no one here is going to discuss any individual personnel, past or present. The Class 3 officers, if they are hired by the township, will be qualified and competent in accordance with state law.
Well, okay, but I will bring this up later on then, because like I said, I feel that I do have a right to be heard about, since I was victimized by that officer, which you know about.
Sir,
I know what you, I know
I
what
think
you.
you've made your comment. I think we
Okay, yes.
all hear you.
See, what you're saying is that you don't want to discuss it, but what I'm saying is it's a very important issue to discuss, because we can't have what happened in Broward County when there was a school shooting and the officer was armed and he wouldn't go in a building, and I understand, first of all, I know why you're saying that, but I just concerned what's been happening during council meetings in the past. But any citizen has the right to challenge what the government does. And you're saying you're not discuss the personnel, but you have to, because if there's an issue of a cop being hired who has a history of corruption, obviously the public has the right to know not only that that's being considered, but to voice their objections like I am doing. Now, I understand why you don't want to discuss it in public. I understand that, but I'm just expressing my concerns. And I would hope that the mayor would discuss this with the chief and make sure that the police are properly hired. You said that they're in compliance with state law, they're going to be hired, but I'd like to point out that when Detective Field was on the force, he was found guilty of a crime in court. He should have been fired at that time, but he was allowed to retire with a full benefits package and pension. So
Sorry, I have to say, I think your comments are clear.
I
and,
understand. I just wanna make sure
You're not going to get a response
I know.
from
I
me or the
understand
mayor or
why.
the council
I
to
understand.
your concerns about any personnel past or present. So I would say thank you. I think you've made your comments quite clear.
thank you. I just want to make sure that it's, because if I have to, I'll go into court and I'll block it with a lawsuit. That's exactly my point. We can't have
Thank you,
cops
Mr.
on the
Foster.
force that have a history
Please
of
sit
corruption.
down.
Thank
We
you.
understand.
I'm going to now.
Anybody
I was just
else?
finishing my
Thank you.
comment, that's all.
Anybody else? Seeing none, close public. Mrs. Bergen?
I guess I will wish a happy birthday to Miss Jennifer Hartman, and one day early.
Mayor?
Yes, tomorrow is the groundbreaking ceremony for Bernie Cook Park, which is located behind the Wawa off of Lanes Mill Road off of Herborn Road as well, right in that area. So hopefully people can make it out there. It'll be a nice and sunny day. And I spoke earlier about the flood, and thank you.
Mr. Starkey?
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Nothing, thank you.
Soon-to-be birthday girl, Ms. Hartman? Councilwoman Zapsik?
Thank you, Council President. I just would like to congratulate Joseph Castellano on his award, his culinary award. I think that's awesome, and wish him well in his future endeavors. And I just want to remind everyone that the second weekend of Murder In, which is a play being presented by Guild Theater Works at the Bob Anstett Cultural Arts Center, is this weekend. That's 7 p.m. on Friday, 7 p.m. on Saturday, and 2 p.m. on Sunday, or your last chances to see this very funny show. Please call 732-262-1006 for a reservation. It's just a message line, so leave your name and a telephone number. They'll call you back with a confirmation. It's $5 to get in at the door, and it's a very small venue, so you do need to reserve in advance. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Very good. Councilman Halloran?
Whatever. Thank you, Council President. Congratulations to Joseph Castellano for his award, silver medalist. They do a great job of training over there at Ocean County VOTEC. And I would not torture the audience with a happy birthday song to Jen, but happy birthday, Jen. You try to sneak it by us, but
Vice President Creed?
I just wanted to mention a couple things. First, I wanted to thank a few people who helped out with our very first Touch a Truck event that took place at the Kids Night Out last Tuesday. It was a really big success. There were lots of people over there climbing on some of our equipment and checking it out, adults and kids alike. So it was a really big success, and I'm really proud of all the people who came out to help. The people I'd specifically like to thank publicly are Ken Summers, Ken Mathis, TJ Venturino, who, if you were there, was totally dressed as the Incredible Hulk. Like, totally, I thought I was looking for a green t-shirt, but no, complete body paint. And the best part of the night was when he did a tug-of-war with like 6 little kids on the other end. It was really cute. Joe Brancato, Jim Brennan, Bob Lekowitz, Jonathan Stamberger, Steve Krakowski, Trish Totero, and Tom DeFelice. So thank you specifically to all those people who came out to really help with the Touch a Truck event. I'd also like to thank all the members of the public that came out to help with the Pick Up Brick campaign on August 4th. There was a really good turnout at the Sawmill Bike Trail. I didn't actually see everyone because I started on the Herbertsville end. There were about 30 people that started out on the end where Herbertsville Park is, and then about another 15 people I heard started like on wherever the actual trail entrance is. So we went around and we picked up garbage, and you know, it was really, I didn't even realize how long the trail was, so it was really something. For having lived in Brick for over 20 years, I'm all excited to go take my dogs for a walk there now. So I don't know when the next date is for the Pick Up Brick. We're looking for sometime in September, so keep your eyes peeled on the website if you're interested in helping out, or if you have like a Boy Scout troop or somebody that would like to come out and help out, we'd love to have you. Congratulations. On Saturday, I was at the farmer's market, and I had the opportunity to talk to everybody as they were coming in and try to talk them into winning a free backyard composter. So congratulations to Crystal Jensen. She was our big winner. And finally, I know I don't usually talk a lot, but I did get to go to an active shooter drill practice with our police force, and I went with Councilman Holleran, and I went with RBA Joanne Bergen, and it was really a fantastic experience. Our police force, they are so professional, and the people who were there being trained, it was not only our police officers, but some of the SROs that are already working in the buildings, along with EMS members who are the first responders in if there are people who are injured. And I was really impressed by everything that I saw that day, everything that we experienced and went through. When they say active shooter drill, they're being genuine. There's no joking around there. So it was really impressive to see, and I thank our police department for all their hard work. So thank you, and have a good evening.
Councilman Mumla?
First, I'd like to say happy 29th birthday to Jennifer. Congratulations to Joseph Castellano on the silver medal. I'd like to also thank the police, fire, EMS from our town and all the towns that came out to help out with all this flooding crisis. They did a great job. And also, I'd like to thank Lowe's for sending out all the supplies. I was out there today, and all the volunteers that were out there today, too, as well. They're doing a great job. For everyone who travels on Princeton Avenue, they're doing 5 manholes being replaced. It's going to be a little hectic there. All traffic's diverted onto Parker. When you go on Parker, drive slow. It's a very small residential area. People are not used to people flying through that neighborhood. So just leave a minute earlier and you'll be on time. And that's going to go on until the end of the month. And hopefully the weather will cooperate with that so they can get that project done. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Councilman Fosman?
Yes, I'd just like to say, first thing to start with is I went to the school board meeting, and they were talking about how much taxes will be raised in the referendum and all that. You know, it's funny, when I was elected here, we cut 4 deputy director positions at $470,000. We eliminated 12 unwarranted stipend for $200,000. Reduced electrical contracting costs by $100,000, and overtime reduction plan was $370,000. So that came out to a little over $1.14 million. And when I was on the Water Authority, when I served there on the BTMUA as a volunteer commissioner for 5 years, the supervisor positions were eliminated, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars at the Water Authority for the time I was there. And maybe the school board should think about that, doing something, and I'm just saying, maybe they should think about something. I was at Farmers Market handing out reusable shopping bags, and 200 were handed out, and you know, a lot of people still bring their bags, and everybody was handed us single-use plastic bags, and I hope it's getting the idea around, because I think that's very important for the environment. And not only that, the plastic straws, not using them, and it's really affecting the environment, and I'm glad everybody's really using them. I was at Greenbrier 1 for the last 2 days. I stopped in there, see what's going on, and all the emergency, and I'd like to thank the police and the emergency, and the different towns were there. Even Bayhead had a truck there. and they did a great job there. And not only that, other places in town were affected. New York Avenue, I live on Rhode Island, New York and back. There was a lady rescued in the car on New York Avenue. It just so happened I saw the firemen over at Greenbrier 1 afterwards. They had to get her out of the car. It was unbelievable. That's how much water was on New York Avenue. A lot of people don't know little sections of town were flooded. And the young couple's house, and people don't have flood insurance there because we're not in the flood zone. I don't even have flood insurance. I live right back of this young man, and his house was flooded out, broke his sewer pipe and everything in his house, just from the water flow. It was unbelievable. And so those type of, as the mayor was saying before, smaller areas, probably was about 8 houses affected in that area. Those houses, I was speaking to them, that they should take pictures of everything, even though they don't have flood insurance, contact their insurance company and get a letter from them saying they're not going to be paid. So this way they can get and figure out how much stuff they lost, so that can go into for FEMA. So because you got different sections of town, you want to get as much damage as everybody had, the money value, and hopefully that FEMA will. I don't know what the money amount is either on FEMA, but that is important. And I noticed Greenbrier 1 did a GoFundMe page for the residents there, because a lot of them they're living hand to mouth, and that's all they have is their house. And I suggest that to people on New York Avenue. I also like to talk another thing about our township code. I did have a back and forth with the township attorney, and I asked the township attorney to do a draft ordinance for me. Now, a draft ordinance is something you bring to a committee, and then you discuss the ordinance. And I guess he feels like he didn't have to. He wasn't. His opinion was that he has to have a committee either approve it, or the mayor, or a business administrator, which the mayor and business administrator don't vote on any ordinances. Well, I got the reading right here, and I want to read it to everybody. It's preparation and introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinances or resolutions shall be prepared for the consideration of the council by the township attorney upon request of the council, or request of the mayor, business administrator, or president of the council. Prior to introduction, each proposal ordinance requiring or permitting administrative action shall be submitted to the business administrator and the department head and division concerned. That was A. B. The ordinance or resolution may be introduced by any member of the council. The clerk shall forthwith provide each member of the council with a copy thereof. Powers of attorney and the duties of township attorney. The township attorney shall be the chief law officer of the township and attorney of record in all processing within the township or any of its officers, boards, bodies, or commissioners within the jurisdiction of the Department of Law by reason of any suits growing out of any official position shall be a party. He or she shall advise the township officials and bodies of any matters relating to the township government when requested to do so. He or she shall supervise and prepare all contracts, deeds, and other documents and ordinances and resolutions referred to the law department for preparation. And now I figured my draft ordinance is in preparation to go to a committee, and I believe that I should have that right to have a draft ordinance made up by the attorney for this. And I did not get that. I had to write my own to bring into a committee. So after I review all my findings on that, I will have an attorney draw it up. And that's the way I have to do it. I have no other choice. And also, I asked a while back on when the ordinance was being passed for the parking, 2-hour parking at Traders Cove, I asked the administration here at the council meeting, how much does it cost to write an ordinance? And they said, oh, it's all grouped into one. I got the councilman's bills right here, and Each one is priced out, each one is separate. Every incident he does, either a phone call or whatever, it's all timed out. And I'm looking for, I just got it today, it just got, before we got in the meeting, so I'm gonna review that and take a look at that, and how much that last ordinance cost for that parking, and the last ordinance that didn't pass, that was paid for background checks on people, how much that ordinance cost before, and it didn't even pass. And all I'm asking for is a draft ordinance, so. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to take an opportunity to thank each and every person who volunteered their time or their effort to help our residents who were affected by the flood. I understand that there is a GoFundMe page for Greenbrier. I understand that those were not the only citizens in our town, however, who were affected, who are elderly or who are living hand to mouth. Remember your neighbors. Remember the people in the houses next door to you or down the road from you. Ask at your local church what you can do to help. If you're not physically able to volunteer your time, you may be able to volunteer potentially a little bit of your money. In your time of need, you would want someone to help you. So it's very important if you could take any spare amount that you can and take that to offset the cost for our residents. It would be greatly appreciated. Secondly, our businesses, several of them were affected in Brick by the flood. It's very, very important that the businesses keep track of the expenses and the damages and loss of revenue that they incurred. Right now on our governor's page specifically indicates that we should all be keeping track of our damages, and it specifically indicates the businesses as well. It's important not only to recoup your damages, but so that we meet the qualifications of earning our federal monies that will help offset the costs that our town will incur, our residents will incur. After being struck with Sandy, we all know how little we can afford to get hit again. So again, keep a lookout for your friends and neighbors, and also don't forget about the pets of your friends and neighbors. I've been asked by several organizations. There are some pets who are displaced right now because of the flood, who maybe the home is not able to accommodate the pets at this point. Ask what you can do to help. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a quick buy in Brick update, of course. We have DeFelice Auto is offering a $100 rebate off auto purchases and a 5% off rebate off their services. And I too would like to thank all of our police, fire, EMS, DPW, CERT teams, all the volunteers, Lowe's, Wawa, everybody and anybody that has helped out these past couple of days. It will take a tremendous effort to get the affected areas, Greenbrier, Primrose, New York Avenue, and Paramount, back to the way they were. But we will. We made it through Superstorm Sandy. I'm sure we can make it through a flood that is not in a flood zone. So, again, thank you for all of the volunteers and all of our township workers that have worked so hard, and absolutely, and more importantly, our hearts do go out to the ones that are the most affected in those areas. So we are here to help with anything that you will need. With that being said, our next scheduled public meeting is Tuesday, August 28th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.